Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Goeiemiddag, dames en here. Dumelang Bome Li Boentate. Welcome to day 10 of our online engineering week. Dis dag 10 van ons online ingenieursweek, and today we will be focusing on electromechanical engineering. So vandag op die spyskaart is elektromeganiese ingenieurswese. Nou wat interessant is, uit die aard van die saak, ons sit met die realiteit van Eskom, ons sit met die realiteit van beurtkrag. So that means we only have an hour before load shedding kicks in right where I am. So whatever we need to do, we need to finish in 1 hour. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them right here in the live chat function. As daar enige vrae is, sit hulle net hierso. Sê baie welkom aan al ons ouers, in besonder wat ook by ons aansluit. Dis vir ons lekker dat julle ook saamluister. To our parents, also a hearty word of welcome. Right, I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to introduce Andre van der Walt, who is a lecturer within this field of electromechanical engineering. Good afternoon, Andre. Can you please just give us a short overview of your career path up to where you are now?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I would like to do so. Corneels, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, I studied mechanical engineering at Northwest University, and then I did my master's degree in nuclear engineering after the 4 years beings. And then I started working at a consulting firm. I did consulting work in the thermal fluid part of mechanical engineering for almost 8-9 years, after which I started or joined a small business where we focused more on mechanical design and manufacturing, as well as automated machines for production, CNC type of machines where we developed and implemented these type of machines. And then after a while, I decided I wanted to come back to the varsity to pursue some more academic opportunities, and that brought me to the School of Mechanical Engineering, where I am the program manager for electromechanical engineering, and I teach the undergraduate course for mechanical and electromechanical design for the 3rd years.
Baie dankie, Andre. So daar het julle dit. Andre, uit die aard van die saak die groot vraag. Ons het gister gepraat oor megatronies. Vandag praat ons oor elektromeganies. Kan jy ons asseblief deur die kurrikulum vat van elektromeganies, dat ons eers kyk na die kurrikulum en dan vanuit dit om mooi te bepaal wat is die verskil tussen elektromeganies en spesifiek megatronies. So just walk us through the curriculum that we can just distinguish between the different, what is the difference between electromechanical and mechatronic engineering?
Okay, 100%. Niels, I'm just going to share a screen here so that Can you see my screen?
I'm just checking. Right, your screen is up. You can proceed.
Okay, so basically what you will see on the screen is the electromechanical engineering overview of the curriculum. So, and you will see that as with any of the engineering disciplines, we start the first 2 years mostly with the mathematical science, physical science, engineering science foundation, where we build the basic knowledge and building steps from which we can do the rest of the course. Okay, so, and then you will see on the left-hand side for mechanical engineering, there's 2 basic fields. There's the thermal fluids engineering part, and there's the mechanical engineering part. Okay, is this clear? Corneels, can you guys see this?
Yes, you can proceed. Okay. We see you, we follow you.
Okay. And on the electrical and electronics side, there's also 2 basic fields. The one is the heavy current electrical engineering field, and there's the electronic and software engineering field. And I try to show here basically what percentage of each of these building blocks electromechanical engineering is made of. Obviously, at the bottom you will see there's engineering management, systems engineering, and engineering economics, which is more your overall courses, which gives you the edge in the field to be a manager in terms of engineering. So for electromechanical engineering, our focus is on the mechanical engineering side and the heavy current electrical engineering side of the two distinct disciplines. Okay, and then we also take some courses, some modules from the thermal fluid sciences part, which is on the left-hand side, and the electronic and software engineering side. But our focus is the combination of the classical mechanical engineering and the heavy current electrical engineering sides of the two schools. And this gives you a very good spread in terms of knowledge over all the fields in both mechanical and electrical engineering. Okay, so it enables an electromechanical engineer to be a very a good manager in terms of having knowledge over all of these fields. We can quickly look at the mechatronics curriculum and just maybe highlight what is the difference. So on the next slide, I try to show what percentage of the course for mechatronics is made up from which components. And here you will see again about 30% of the course is building blocks in terms of mathematical, physical, engineering sciences. On the mechanical engineering side, we only have a small part of the mechanical engineering, which is the classical mechanical engineering, which is 10%. Thermal fluid sciences is not considered in the mechatronics curriculum. And you will see that the main focus of mechatronics is more on the heavy current and electronic and software engineering side, and very heavy on the software and electronic engineering, which is almost 44% of the course. So this gives you a bit of an overview of the difference. Mechatronics focuses more on the software and the data side, where electromechanical engineering is a very good combination of the classical mechanical engineering and then a heavy current electrical engineering, with some modules taken from thermal fluid science as well as the electronic and software engineering to give you a good balance between all these courses.
Baie dankie Andrei, en wat ek hou van wat jy sê is 'n baie mooi uiteensetting van die verskil. Gister toe ons met Dr. Henry Maree ook gepraat het, was dit baie interessant om te sien dat elektromeganies word ook by ander instellings in Suid-Afrika aangebied. This degree is also presented at other institutions in South Africa, and they are not necessarily exactly the same. Can you perhaps elaborate on that? How do our electromechanical differ from other universities? Because I know it's also at some other universities also presented as a degree.
Yes, Corneels, I think what happens is that there is worldwide different interpretations for the terms electromechanical and mechatronic. And you will see that in some other universities, electromechanical engineering is presented as what we have as mechatronics engineering. So more focused on the robotics and the data side of the engineering, getting the data out of and managing of the data and connection of components, electrical components, such as robotics with more internet platforms and things like that. Whereas our focus in electromechanical engineering, the way we see it, is more on the hardware and less on the software. And that is more or less the difference. But it is terms that is sometimes a little bit used in a confusing manner between varsities.
Right. Thank you, Andre. So to those watching, if you're interested in electromechanical or mechatronic, regardless of where you're going to study, just remember, as I said yesterday, all electromechanical degrees are equal, but some are more equal than others. they are not the same. You have to do a bit of research and establish what exactly does this hybrid degree entail, because it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid of two different schools within the Faculty of Engineering. In our case, the School of Electronic Engineering and the School of Mechanical Engineering. And in the case of Electromechanical, if I understand you correctly, Andre, it's a 50-50 in the case of Electromechanical. Right. So with that,
Almost 50 years.
yes, let me ask you, with this degree, with an electromechanical engineering degree from the Northwest University, where will you end up working one day?
Okay. Corneels, I'm going to proceed here and show you some examples of what you can typically do. Firstly, obviously, design is a major component of any engineer's education, and that is one of the main things that we will focus on during the course. So here I try to show some examples of if you are a design engineer and you are supposed to design a distinctive electromechanical component. Two examples are shown here. The one is a vibratory motor, which is a motor that is not your general motor that you can connect to any system. It's a very specific type of motor which is supposed to induce vibrations. And this type of motor is something that neither a mechanical or an electrical engineer can independently develop. Okay, so typically you would have had, if you wanted to develop a motor like this, you would have had an electrical engineer and a mechanical engineer to work together to do this. If you have an electromechanical engineering degree, you are able to do the design of a motor like this completely on your own. Okay, so this is on a component level. On the right-hand side, you will see another type of vibrating inducing component, which is a electromagnetic vibrating system. And once again, it's a system that if you were to design this in the general market, you would have had an electrical and a mechanical engineer working together. But now having the basis, if you have had done the electromechanical course, you would have been able to do this completely on your own. Another example is a pump, but this is not just a general pump. This is a pump with an electromagnetic or a magnetic drive pump, which is a sealless pump. And once again, a mechanical engineer might be able to develop the pump side, and an electrical engineer might be able to develop the magnetic drive part, but the electromechanical engineer would be able to do complete system, complete component on his own, because he has both the mechanical and electrical experience. Okay, so this is only on a component level. Obviously, not all engineers work as design engineers. Some engineers work as integrators of systems. So where we define systems where mechanical and electrical systems are combined. Here are two examples. These are bigger systems. The one is, for instance, a wind turbine in the renewable energy sector. Obviously, there's shafts, which is mechanical components, gearboxes, a lot of things like that. There's a lot of strength of materials that is important, as well as materials. And then there's your electrical systems, your control, there's your generating side, there's protection. All of that, it needs to be combined in a system like this. Now, no individual is able to do a design like this on his own. So what do you need? You need somebody who is a systems engineer who is able to understand all the interfaces between these components. Now, if you have an electromechanical engineer as a systems engineer for this, he has the ability to better understand the interfaces between all the mechanical and electrical components. The same with, on the right-hand side, is a steam turbine generator system. Okay, so we have, in that sense, you will typically have a thermal fluid engineer you will have a mechanical engineer, you have an electrical engineer, and you will have a control engineer. Once again, this system like this is not something that any individual can master on his own, but electromechanical systems engineer is in a very good position to do the oversight and integration of all of this. And there are many more examples that we can show with regards to this. And then I want to show one more example. Obviously, a lot of engineers becomes managers of factories and plants. And typically in any plant, there's a lot of mechanical systems, there's a lot of electrical systems. In many bigger plants, there's a lot of chemical systems as well. And electromechanical engineers, once again, well suited to be able to manage all the different processes or be an engineering manager for a system or plant with a lot of different electrical and mechanical equipment, as well as industrial automation. If you are an electromechanical engineer, you would be able to assist with the industrial automation of a big plant. And because you have all the fundamental basic building blocks for mechanical and electrical systems. So I hope this gives you a better idea of where an electromechanical engineer can fit in the bigger picture.
Baie dankie Andrei. Ons het ook op die lyn een van ons alumnus, François Nudee, wat in die industrie is. So ek wil graag by jou oor François. Just give us a bit of a background. What is your background, your career? Where did you start? Where are you now? And what exactly are you doing? François. François, are you there? François, can you hear us? We will wait for François to get back online. In the meantime, Andrei, I'm going to ask you a question. The word that springs to mind is the word government ticket. I've heard that before, and I know it has something to do with electromechanical. To what extent will a degree in electromechanical engineering assist someone to obtain a government ticket? That's just out of, I'm not an engineer in this field, but I've heard this before. Perhaps it can help.
Yes, having your government compliance certificate typically enables you to become a manager, general manager or engineering manager of a plant or mine. And typically there's government compliance certificates for electrical and for mechanical guys. And there's one for plants and one for mines. We feel that the electromechanical, sorry, there's just a little bit of echo. We feel that the electromechanical engineering degree gives you a better basis to apply for a government compliance certificate.
Right. Kom ons kyk weer of François, as jy met ons. Hoe was dit weer?
Ek is met julle, Corneels. Guys, can you hear me now? I'm just going to keep my video off. My face is anyway not that good, so you guys will enjoy the yellow thingy that's showing on your screen. Yeah, just to answer you, Corneels, what you originally asked. I did my bachelor's at the Northwest, and from there I immediately went into the mining industry. So I did 2 years as on a consultancy firm. I worked in a consultancy firm, and then I started working with Xaro. So right now I am on the life of mine projects as a project engineer, and that entails pretty much combining both electrical, mechanical, chemical, rock engineering, mining engineering, anything that you can think of. So I think, yeah, right now I am involved specifically in the specifications of the new Matla Mine 1 equipment fleet, which entails both the electrical and the mechanical aspects of your continuous miners, your shuttle cars, feeder breakers, and such.
Thank you very much. François, goed om jou by ons te hê. Sommige net in die algemeen dan. Elektromeganiese ingenieurs. where will they work? Can you list us a couple of companies where that would be very suitable for them to work?
Well, obviously, one of them will be any mining company that you can name. They can fit into. As been mentioned, the mining industry is especially for a mechanical electrical engineer in the let's say the traditional sense. There's no distinguishing. Once you are holding a ticket holder, such as been mentioned, your GCC ticket, you have to be both sides of the spectrum. So I think, firstly, one specific industry will be the mining industry, specifically in South Africa. Having the ability to understand both the mechanical and electrical side makes you a very good candidate and a well-suited candidate. And then with the distinguishing, if I can use the example of electrical engineering and electronical engineering, a few years back, that was two separate degrees. You couldn't, you either did the one or the other. And we've gotten to a point where you can't be an electrical engineer without understanding electronics, protections and such. And then we are getting to the same point now with mechanical and electrical engineering, where if I take from my own experience as CM, it's both hydraulic, electrical, and mechanical. So having that comprehensive understanding and education specifically, any mining company and almost any tech company, I want to say, at the moment you have something that's moving away from the digital domain, which is not an application or a Facebook type thing. Once it gets to the real world, there's mechanical aspects there too, and we are going now to electronics and everything.
Wonderlik. So soos ons kan hoor, hier's twee velde. Frans, as ek jou dalk net kan vra om jouself te mute, anders dan ego ons die hele tyd. Daar sy. Yes, away is the echo. Lovely. I have a question. Yes. Tessa Buys vra hierdie vraag en ek gaan vir jou 'n kans gee met 'n antwoord, Faf, en ek gaan vir jou 'n kans gee om dit te antwoord, Andrei, maar kom ek gee eers die vraag. Sal 'n mens meganies of elektries as 'n vak moet neem vanaf graad 10 om dit te kan studeer of beide? Okay. Tessa, so the question is, do you need to take mechanical or electrical as a subject as from grade 10 to be able to study as well? I can actually answer that. Sorry, you guys, I'm gonna jump ahead. Tessa, dis glad nie nodig nie. Al wat 'n mens nodig het om ingenieurswese te kan studeer aan die NWU is wiskunde, regte wiskunde, nie fisiese of tegniese wiskunde nie wiskunde geletterdheid nie, regte wiskunde en regte fisiese wetenskap, nie tegniese fisiese wetenskap nie. Dis net daai twee vakke. Die res maak eintlik nie saak nie. Daar's sekere vakke wat jou 'n beter agtergrond sal gee, maar vir keuringsdoeleindes slegs daai twee vakke. So we've had that question. We've had many questions in the last 2 weeks, and you're more than welcome to watch some of the other videos. Some people ask questions, should I be taking engineering, graphics, and design? Some people ask the question, should I be taking IT? All those questions, should I be taking alpha maths? You can watch all the videos previously, but I'm going to conclude with this statement. In order to study engineering one day, you just need those two modules. The other ones, you can take whatever you want. Some of them will prepare you better, some might not. But with those two subjects, if you pass them, you'll be able to get where you need to get. Right. So, thank you for that question. Dankie, Tessa. Fransie, jy's weer ge-unmute. Ons het weer 'n ego hierso. Right. So I'm going to introduce one of the students in electromechanical engineering, and it's Hanu Hofman, all the way from Botawil in the Free State. Hanu, tell us a bit about yourself and what made you decide to study electromechanical engineering.
Okay, so I'm in electromechanical engineering at the Northwest University. After matric, I first did a gap year where I did actually exposure year, where I went to the mining industry and got a little bit of exposure there. And then from first year, I actually applied for mechanical engineering, but after the first day, I changed to electromechanical engineering. My feeling of that change is very positive. Ever since I would like to go more into electrical engineering, because from the beginning I didn't know anything about any electrical circuits, and after studying more of the electrical components and the more electrical part of the degree, it intrigued me a little bit more, and it was more applicable to me. And everything, if you think about anything in your house, everything is going more to electrical. Yes, there's a lot of components that need mechanical components, but everything is moving more to an electrical point of view into the future. So personally, I love the degree. Most people, the degree is mostly applied for the mining industry as well as large factories where you need to have a good concept of all the components of the factory. So if you go into any factory like Volkswagen or any of those companies, you can't just be a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, because somewhere you're going to miss some knowledge. But being both, it's like the best of both worlds. It's a bit more difficult than mechanical engineering from my point of view, but it's totally worth it.
Baie dankie. Hanu, ek het 'n vraag vir jou. Wat ek sommer vir jou wil vra, en ek gaan dit vir jou in Afrikaans vra, want baie van ons kykers is uit die aard van die saak Afrikaans. Jy was in 'n Afrikaanse hoërskool, in Hoërskool Botawil. Dis Vrystaat, dis Milie Hoofstad. Sommer net 'n vraag wat ek wil vra. Die wêreld van ingenieurswese is Engels, nie noodwendig Afrikaans nie. Hoe het jy as iemand wat van 'n Afrikaanse skool afkom, hoe het jy dit beleef? En jou Engels is Vrystaat Engels goed, maar is goed, dit mooi gevorder daarso, komplimente. Maar my vraag is, wat was jou belewenis van 'n Afrikaanse hoërskool na 'n vakgebied wat baie meer Engels is? Wat was jou gevoel met dit?
Dit is 'n aanpassing om te maak, veral wanneer alles dadelik oorgaan na Engels toe. So aan die begin, my Engels was verskriklik swak. Ek was bietjie baie gespot oor dit, maar dis fyn. Dit het mens geleer om beter die Engels aan te pak. En die voordeel van die PIK was, al die dosente is half verstaan Afrikaans baie goed of is Afrikaans. So as ek enige vrae gehad het oor wiskunde of enige van daai vakgebiede, kon ek maklik met die dosente kommunikeer en hulle kon my baie maklik verstaan om want partykeer wil jy net iets in Afrikaans vra. So dit het my nogals regtig baie gehelp om veral in Afrikaans die vrae ook te vra, waar ons wiskunde klasse ook in Afrikaans en Engels het. So daar's 2 verskillende klasse vir dit. So dit het ook verskriklik baie gehelp, en waar ek nou staan wil ek eintlik alles net in Engels hê, want as jy sê maar kyk na engine, jy praat van die carburetor, jy gaan nie praat van 'n vergasser nie. So dit maak dit makliker, maar daai intree dink ek het die PIK ook redelik baie goed bedryf.
So those specifically Afrikaans or English, you don't need to worry. The world of engineering is English, and we will guide you in that world. And especially if you're from an Afrikaans background, not to worry. A lot of people are afraid. Don't be afraid. You've heard this guy, Hanu, all the way from Botawil in die Vrystaat. En jy het mooi gehoor hoe hy in Engels daar gepraat het. So jy hoef nie bang te wees nie. Dis 'n proses van groei. But the important thing is, in the end, the majority of the subjects in the final year will be presented in English. Your presentations will be in English, your design reports will be in English, because the language of industry is, of course, English. Right. François, ek wil terugkom by jou. I have a question for you. It's more of a personal question. So tell us about your extracurricular activities with regards to sports. What is your history with regards to athletics and such?
Corneels, now or when I studied, because now I don't have a life anymore. When I was studying, I still had the privilege of having time for sports. So I did triathlon for my entire 4 years at varsity. I did 2 Ironmans, 3 Ironmans, I ran skyrun. So I would definitely suggest, whatever your preference is, whether it is chess or poker or running, cycling, especially with the modules or the type of degree that you're going to study, it's a non-negotiable. You need it. You need something, whether or not it's just walking a park run. It's not to be negotiated upon.
So, julle hoor nou daar, baie keer vra mense, kan ek ingenieurswese swat en iets anders doen? Wel, hier is 'n ingenieurstudent wat ook 'n eysterman of 3 agter die rug het. So it is possible to it's not just engineering. There is time that you can make to do other things too. So, François, a follow-up question that I have. your final year project. Can you please elaborate, what did you do during your final year project with regards to linking with your background as an athlete?
Okay, Corneels, my final year project was to determine using a system. Let's start at the beginning to identify whether or not you are, as an athlete, running, pronating. Now, pronating is the inward roll of the foot. So generally, when you buy shoes, that's the question: are you a pronator or not? So my final year project was from ground zero, designing a system. Designing the components, designing the PC board, the software, the firmware, everything together as a combined unit to be able to have you wear the unit, go for a run, collect the data, and then analyze whether or not Corneels is somebody that has pronation, or is he a neutral runner, or is he a supinator. So that was the short and the long.
Right. I think I'm is it if you run inward, you're a pronator? I'm one of those. When I played
That's
rugby,
correct, yes.
Yes, I was a pronator because my tocks would normally on the outside they would be brand new. On the inside, I needed new ones. So I needed somebody like you way back when I was still in school. So yes, but what I like about what you're saying, you did your final year project on something that is linking to your world. It's something that actually, and it has value. It has value for athletes. It has value for everyday life. So that's wonderful how the world of engineering has application in where it is. So that's wonderful. Right. Okay. So I'm just checking here if there are any questions, please. Asseblief moenie huiwer om te vra nie. Hierso in die chat gedeelte kan julle met die grootste liefde vra en dan sal ons dit hanteer hierso in die ateljee. So right. Ons het uit die aard van die saak, we've spoken about what's the difference between Mechatronic and Electromechanical. We've covered that. We've spoken about where you can work one day, and we've talked about the curriculum. Yes. Right. So I will check if there are questions. If there are not, we are a bit running faster this afternoon, and the reason being that due to load shedding, some of us will be not having electricity from 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's a bit of a problem. Anu, I'm going to ask you, as a student, what would you say? You're now in your third year? Fourth year, you're in your final year. Okay, so in your fourth year, looking back on 4 years studying at the Northwest University, what would you say was your top 3 things that you liked the most and your top 3 challenges? I'm going to, a nice broad question. So your top 3 things that you enjoyed the most and your 3 things that you think were the greatest challenges while you were studying here in your 4 years.
Okay, so top 3 things. Studying electromechanical engineering is a challenge. And a lot of people associate engineers with people that just sit inside and study. I'm actually in a hostel, and with every oxy, all the engineers, everyone is down having the oxy. So you really never miss out. One thing that I noticed is the busier you are, the more time you have. It doesn't make sense, but trust me, it's true. So there's a lot of challenges, but it's worth it. And the top 3 things, we had a lot of assistance from anybody. Like, we have a lot of assignments and tasks that we have to do, which is a bit complicated, but with the lecturers and everyone, they simplified the equipment. You have access to the labs. It just makes it so much easier. Just like yesterday, I had a meeting with 2 of my lecturers on my final year's project. There were some struggles that I had, and they more than willingly helped me out. Challenges, I don't know of any major challenges that I had. I can't really think of anything.
Let me rephrase the question then. What would you say were your most difficult subjects in these 4 years?
Math Analytics 4. So that's the subject that keeps most engineers back, and all the math builds up to that subject. And yeah, a lot of students still have nightmares on that subject. But after having that subject done, it's just plain engineering subjects, fluids, mechanics, and especially the interesting electrical components and parts as well.
That is the old MTHS 223, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's the one. An important thing that Hanu is alluding to. Many a student have not been able to cross that hurdle. Brilliant-minded, gifted students, but it's sometimes that mathematics that keeps them back. So, yes, it's a pre-warning to those coming to the university. You will have it's 2 years, so it's 4 semesters. There will be maths, and my recommendation: make sure you pass those maths the first time around. That just makes life much easier. So put in extra. That's the one module you should put in extra, because if you can pass those things, it's just you're well away in the rest. There's another question. The question is from Andrelies van der Walt. Baie dankie vir jou vraag. Thank you for your question. Was dit moeilik om werk te kry nadat jy elektromeganies geswat het? So, Faf, I'm going to ask you that question. Did you have any difficulty finding a job after studying electromechanical? I don't know whether you had a bursary. Was it difficult for you to find a job? Yeah. Francois, you're muted.
Apologies, Corneels. Well, okay, my background is electronic engineering, but and yes, I did have a bursary, but for 2 years after varsity, I did not work back to my bursary. Like I said, I immediately moved to the mining industry as in the consulting side. And I can tell you this, and I think my advice would be to anybody still studying engineering or about to study engineering is it's never so much about what you've studied and what is written on the piece of paper. There are many people that has that same paper that you do. I mean, there's thousands of engineers a year graduating worldwide. What will distinguish you is your thinking capability. Learning is one thing, but what makes a good engineer, from my experience and the people that I've worked with, which I value the most, is not necessarily always the people that specifically studied the field we are in now, but the people that have developed throughout their 4 years, or 5 years, or 6 years, some have developed their skill set, the ability to adapt. Because in my opinion, an engineer is supposed to be of a higher thinking capability. You will many times, there's not a day in my life that goes by where I don't get to stuff that I've never experienced before. I get to a new machine, I get to a new plant, I get to a new process. And what makes us as engineers capable to function is the fact that we can take information, process it, and from that information, make conclusions and solutions and such. So my recommendation would be, you will not struggle to find work when you're a good engineer. And by good, not marks, be able to think. When you do your subjects, your maths specifically, I think a lot of the reasons from my experience why many people struggle with the maths at varsity is they try and approach it from a high school, study for the exam, hope you get the same question type of mentality. Instead of, that's not what an engineer is. You're not somebody that needs to memorize, you need to understand. So a tip on those maths, approach it from an understanding perspective and not, I hope they ask the question that I studied. They never will. That's varsity. The lecturers has enough time to figure out new questions, and they kind of enjoy it. So yeah, that's my suggestion, is make sure, apart from your studying, get involved in small things. If there's something going on with the solar car, if there's something going on with biodiesel or something, get involved. Do not limit yourself to only the 4 years of studying. You're not going to, at the end, I can promise you, I can't remember 95% of what I studied in my modules, but I can remember how to study. And that's what I learned from, specifically at the PIC, is how to study, not just what to study.
Thank you very much, Francois. I think that's an important thing. You will be taught skills, because you can imagine there's no way that in 4 years you will acquire all the information necessary to just walk into industry and to start working. But you will have a set of skills that will enable you to acquire another set of skills and apply them within that niche area. I know I'm going to ask you a question. As you are a 4th year, I don't know this because I did not do research on you before the time. Do you have a bursary? That's my first question now, yes or no. Do you already have a place to work next year? And then just a common question, in your class, if you can gauge, and it's perhaps a difficult question, but what percentage of your class already have either bursaries or a work placement for next year already? It's perhaps a premature question, but yes.
Okay, so I have a bursary at Anglo American Platinum. It's actually a very good bursary. I'm very fortunate to have it. I think to have a bursary really helps you, not only from an academic point of financial point of view, but also from the physical, because most of the bursary students has to do VAC work. So in the VAC work, you physically go to the mine, go in, and you physically apply some of your knowledge that you study. You also see stuff that other students that don't have that opportunity, you also learn from that. So if most lecturers also talk about some of the applications of the stuff you study, where you can apply it in the industry. So having that background knowledge, you immediately know where to apply it and how to apply it. Yeah. Most of the students does have bursaries, but it's not something everybody just talks about, but it is really helping to have a bursary. And from next year, I'm going on the graduate program where you study towards your GCC, as Andre mentioned earlier. That is your main goal for an electromechanical engineering. Just for interesting sakes, a normal mechanical or electrical engineer at the mines would, let's say, get 40,000 Rand. But as soon as you get your GCC, it literally doubles to 80,000 Rand. Yeah, it's it's a very important degree to have, or diploma to have.
So it's not spoken about money, and there's good reason for that. But I'll just say the following. We're not going to go into figures because that will just get a lot of people perhaps annoyed. But the fact of the matter is, and that's one thing I always tell students, engineering is a difficult degree. That's why you get the salary at the end of the day. That's also one of those things. But I want to clearly state this. If your main reason for studying engineering is the salary, no, that cannot be your drive. Just to do things for the money is not going to work. That's not going to be. So it's a bit of a weighing up of passion on the one side, ability on the other side, and then also, well, availability of job placement. That's also important. But yes, but if your main goal is just to make money or for the eliteness of a certain degree, I would perhaps take a step back and reconsider. But yes, I'm being philosophical. Andre, I have a question for you. It latches onto this. So the question is, you studied mechanical, then you went to nuclear, and then you worked in a sector, and you came back to university. Can you please just elaborate a bit on that, and just your perception of the students studying electromechanical? How difficult is it for them to get a job placement, bursaries and these kind of things? I know bursaries and job placement, two different subjects, but specifically, how easy is it to get a job? Yes.
Yes, Corneels, I studied mechanical engineering, and then at that stage, the nuclear industry was still very much alive in South Africa and booming, and it was very interesting. And that's why we were the first group of postgraduate nuclear engineers in the country. So that was very exciting at the time. But then since then, obviously, nuclear industries died down a little bit. So we had to make the move again just to mechanical engineering, thermal fluids. I think my experience, maybe just in terms of before I get to why I feel electromechanical engineers in a good position to get a job. My experience is the same as Francois, that wherever you go, you think maybe you studied mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, you think, okay, this is what I need to do. But then you start interfacing with other disciplines, and you always interface with other disciplines. If you work in a box, then it's very boring. If you start doing projects, you will obviously interface with electrical, civil engineering. If you work at places like Sasol, you will interface with chemical engineers. And in all of this, my experience is that the more knowledge you have, the broader knowledge you have, the better. So if you have a broader knowledge base to start from, it's just easier interfacing with other disciplines. It doesn't mean that you will have this base forever. You can still, if you studied electromechanical engineering, you can still go and do only mechanical engineering. You have all the building blocks to do that, or electrical engineering, which is great. So what I did see, however, is if you go and look on the platforms where jobs are advertised, a lot of the companies want somebody who is got a bigger skill set than just mechanical or just electrical engineering. And I believe that if you go and you apply for these jobs, you will stand a better chance of being employed. You can now imagine that if I can employ somebody who has both the ability to quickly switch between electrical and mechanical, there's just so much use for a guy. So and that's why I say, I mean, if you go into only a design type of position as a junior engineer, you have got the ability now to do a little bit more than either electrical or a mechanical engineer. But as you grow into a more senior position, as a plant manager or something like that, then you've got the basis for a lot bigger basis from which you can manage certain things. And I think if you go and apply for GCC, obviously GCC program, you have to go through all of this in any case, but you've got at least a little bit better background in terms of the electrical and mechanical to make it, I think, a little bit easier to get that diploma. So I would definitely feel there's an advantage in having this degree above only electrical or only mechanical.
That's a good point you're making, Andre. And just to think about this now, so you can study this 4-year electromechanical engineering, and should you wish to, you can just continue with a master's degree. I'm not talking, you must help me if I'm wrong, but you can proceed then with a master's degree in pure mechanical or a master's degree in pure electronic engineering. Would that be possible?
Yes, that would most definitely be possible. And I think that is definitely the advantage. Obviously, as shown on the screen, thermal fluid sciences in terms of the electromechanical engineering degree is not so much presented, same as the electronic and software engineering side. But if you studied only mechanical engineering, you can specialize in either thermal fluids or in structures or in machine design or something like that. But you can't go into electronic or electrical engineering suddenly if you studied mechanical engineering. Whereas electromechanical engineering you've got such a broad base of knowledge that you can go and specialize in almost any of these fields afterwards, while you retain your basic fundamental broad knowledge of all the disciplines. And that is a definitive advantage for us. And if I were an employer now and I were to employ somebody, I would definitely take that into consideration.
Baie dankie, Andre. So we have a question from the floor. Tabiwanashe Kudoma, sorry. You've been asking a lot of questions these 2 weeks. Thank you very much for them. Tabiwanashe, so good day. If I am an excelling student, good for you. Do I get an engineering scholarship even though I am a foreigner from the university? I would direct you to the page of engineering.nwu.ac.za, and then you will see there's one drop-down menu, Study Engineering. Click there and go to the sub-page, Bursaries and Job Opportunities. And there you will find the contact details, and I would just send an email or just click there and register. But all the information can be obtained. I'm not that out of my head about what is the whole policy with regards to foreign students, but please do yourself a favor and go there. And the email address is engineeringbursaries engineering@nwu.ac.za. Engineering bursaries, one word, at nwu.ac.za. Right. We have 10 minutes left before we close, before Eskom decides the streaming is over. Andrelies het 'n vraag. Is a GCC necessary to become a plant manager? Is hierdie government ticket, so to speak, noodsaaklik om 'n aanlegbestuurder te kan word? Andrei, gaan na jou toe.
Corneels, yes, and Annelies, I think it's a very important question to ask, and the short answer is yes. You need to have your government compliance certificate to show that you can take the responsibility. It's not the same thing as being a professional engineer. So, and it's maybe important to highlight the difference. A professional engineer, if you're registered with EXA, you are allowed to sign off designs. So say a new building is being designed, structure, a bridge or something like that. You are allowed to put your signature on the piece of paper, on the drawings, on the report to say, I approve that this design is safe. And the manufacturing guys can go and they can proceed and they can build it according to your specifications, and you basically give your approval that it is safe. That is almost the same thing if you go and work at the factory. If you are overall responsible for the factory, for everything, for not only the machines, the labor, health and safety, all of that, then you need to prove in some way that you are competent, and that is what GCC is for. Okay, so being a professional engineer, having a degree, does not necessarily show that you are competent in all of this. So, and if you go, I think I would advise you, go and look on PNet, go and look at job opportunities, go look at factory managers, engineering managers. You will quickly see that in all production plants, you will have to have a GCC. Now, typically also, just a word of advice, and I think Francois can maybe elaborate on this, but the GCC is not something that you just go and quickly write the exam. It is best to go and work at a factory, at an employer who's got a program for GCCs, and where you can grow into that position almost, where they coach you and they learn you all the ropes of a factory, all the ins and outs, and then you can go and you can study for the GCC, you can go and write it. But I think that Francois maybe elaborate us on, since he's been through the process. I myself, I'm not a GCC, I'm a professional registered engineer, so I can sign off designs, but I've never managed a factory or something like that. So,
Francois, let's ask you that question. How was it for you to get this whole GCC? How is that process? Francois, are you there? Can you hear us? Francois. Francois, well, he's not hearing us now. So what I will do is, we'll check now. In the meantime, we have 6 minutes left.
Can you hear me, Corneels?
We can hear you, Francois.
Apologies. Let's call it Vodacom's fault. So the GCC, yeah, what I was saying is I'm about to write mine as soon as COVID allows me. But following on to what Andre said, I think it's also good for everybody to know that you get two GCCs. You get one that we call the factory and plant, and you get one that we call the mines and works. So those are the two. One is issued by the Department of Mineral and Resources, the DMR, and the other one is offered by the Department of Labor. So the one allows you for mines, and the whole thing behind the GCC is, I think it's critical for the younger audience to understand. This always confused me also. The GCC is required specifically to lawful appointments. Now, there's 2 acts that you need to consider. The one is the Mine Health and Safety Act, and one is the OSH Act, which is the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So that is a requirement from the Act. And like Andre said, that shows that according to the department responsible for your industry, you are considered competent to hold that legal responsibility. So yes, I will agree to previous facts that it's very well paying, but I can also promise you that most of those people sleep very little and worry very much because you are legally appointed. So to give you the bad news is you're the person that's standing in court according to the law, not to ever make the mistake necessarily. But that apart, it is advised to not rush it. A lot of people chase the GCC without doing proper preparation in terms of their development firstly and their study. The GCC has a pass rate of less than 30%. You will many times hear of people that have to go and write it 6-7 times. And I'm not sure on the factory side, I can tell you on the mine side, you will take between 2 and 3 years to get the necessary experience to have your GCC modules signed off prior to your examination. And again, as anything in life, you can either do it as a tick box exercise, or you can really get benefits therefrom. Because once you get that legal appointment, nobody's going to be, oh, you didn't study this or you didn't know this. Like I say, you are the legal representative for your position. So, and also, a side note, do not fear. It's not that if you do not have your GCC, you will never get a job related to the mines or factories. There are various positions. For example, on our project team, we do not require GCCs. Again, we do require more your PR and your project management side. So, good qualification to have, but do not take it lightly. It's something that takes a bit of work, little sleep, and a lot of prayer.
Thank you very much, Francois. What I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to gamble. That's what I'm going to do. So, Andra, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm logging off and logging on in another way because we are losing our power on this side at 4 o'clock. So I'm going to ask this question. If I do not get back, you need to say bye to all the people, and they should tune in on Monday at 3 o'clock. Then you must tell them that, Andre. So my question, because I don't want to ignore, Dani Rademeier, ek wil nie jou vraag ignoreer nie. So his question is, are there any other routes one can take if you have this degree besides in the manufacturing or mining industry? And what are routes one can take to expand one's degree area of expertise? Andre, vir 50 punte. Jy moet nou lank praat, want ek moet nou eers weggaan en weer terugkom. Magic.
Okay, Corneels, just repeat, when must they log on? Monday at 3 o'clock?
Monday at 3 o'clock. Monday at 3 o'clock. The executive dean, Professor Liesel van Dijk, will be in studio. She will be answering all questions not yet answered.
That is a faculty-wide Q&A.
Anything. There's also a thing on a tutor program for grade 11s and 12s. Brilliant thing. And it can help with science and maths. So they must tune in. Okay, let's see if this works. Otherwise, Andre, I'm putting this responsibility. It's like the GCC. I'm putting the GCC of this discussion. It's now on your shoulders. And you will stand in court if they don't get greeted at the end of the session.
100%. Yes, I think it's important to realize that if you study electromechanical engineering, it's not just for works, factories, and mines that you will be able to apply for a job. It's much broader than that. As the examples I've shown, you can definitely go and simply into a design type of engineering position where you do only designs. And I think the nice thing is if you go into designs as a professional engineer or just as a design engineer, there are so many examples. I mean, you mustn't look into the fact that you have electrical and mechanical engineers that it must be typically an electromechanical component. It can be only purely mechanical or pure electrical type of component that you design. If you're going to the systems engineering type of position, project management or project engineering position, then it can be almost in any field as well. I mean, you can, all you have is you've got more skills and more abilities to manage a wider range of disciplines. So just because you're an electromechanical engineer doesn't mean you have to go into the mines of GCC. You can, if you want to go into renewable energies, you're even better suited because now you've got, if say you go for a wind farm, you've got both the mechanical and electrical experience, and you can go and you can manage a team of mechanical, civil, and electrical engineers for a certain goal. And I think it's also important to always note that an engineer is much better qualified than they usually think. The basis of mathematics that we have gives you an excellent ability to adopt any additional mathematical type of fields. The financial fields are usually very easy for engineers. So if you want to go into a management position, we do the basic engineering economics, we do engineering management, which gives you that in management edge. But you can, if you want to go and do an MBA afterwards, then you can go into purely a management position, even though you've got a lot of technical modules. So I think the long and the short is, no, you don't have to go and work in a factory, work in a mine, or any of those. You can be a design engineer, you can become a systems engineer, a systems integrator, you can go into corporate finance if you've done your MBA. There's so much that you can go and do with this degree. So I hope that answers your question, Corneels. You're still with us.
Die feit dat jy my stem kan hoor is goeie nuus, want dit beteken ek is weer terug on the line. So with that, I'm going to ask the usual question, my last question that I ask at the end of all of these interviews, and that would be a 1 minute from each one of our panelists. Why would you tell somebody out there to study electromechanical engineering? Waarom sal jy vir iemand daar buite sê elektromeganiese ingenieurswese is wat jy moet studeer? Ons gaan begin met jou, François, dan Hanu en dan laastens Andrei. Ek hoor graag van julle. Floor is yours.
Okay, Corneels, kom ek kyk of my minuut kan gebruik. Well, I'm going to advocate you guys to study specifically electromechanical engineering, specifically like for all the reasons you said now. Look, and I think I want to jump off the ship now and be different, and I hope I don't get blocked, is study engineering for a simple reason. You are not limiting yourself to a specific field. Never limit yourself. You can study chemical engineering and end up in the banking sector. You are not studying simply to know. You are studying to have, like Corneels said, a skill set. And I can tell you many examples of people that are managing banking firms that are engineering graduates. And it's not because they know what goes on in a bank. It's because they know how to think, they know how to gather information and use it. So study engineering for the simple reason it needs to be your passion. Never do it for the money, please. I would advise you the money is not that good. It's good, but it's not that good. Study it because you want to study it, never for the money. Do what you love and the money will come. But if you start chasing money, you're going to have a bad day.
François, baie dankie vir daai absolute passievolle, begeesterde rede om ingenieurswese te studeer en ek hoop mense kan hoor ingenieurswese is 'n leefwyse. Dis iets wat in jou is. So from there we move to Hanu in Botawil.
Okay, ek gaan hom in Afrikaans beantwoord. Alles deesdae gaan oor half elektries toe, maar tog is daar nog steeds meganiese gedeeltes, soos as jy kyk na 'n wasmasjien. Alles raak smart, maar dit het nog steeds die meganiese gedeeltes wat dit nog steeds in het. So elektromechanies, hoekom nie? Ek het begin met meganies en ek's glad nie spyt om oor te gaan nie. Jou wêreld is net soveel breër, soos wat Andrei ook gesê het. Jy kan maklik, ek ken nou 'n student wat sy meesters doen in elektries en so daai meesters kan hy ook enige plek gebruik. Hy het die agtergrond van albei kante. So dis bietjie moeiliker volgens my, maar verseker die moeite werd. Dit maak dit jou opsies soveel breër om enige kant toe te gaan. En in jou eerste jaar is al die vakke soort van dieselfde. Daar's hier en daar 'n vak wat verskil. So as jy nie hou van die vakkie, kan jy maklik oorgaan en as jy meer hou van elektries soos wat ek besluit het, kan jy van meganies oorgaan na elektromeganies of skoon elektries toe. Dis jou eie besluit.
Baie dankie, Hanu. En dan ons laaste 1 minuut, Andrei.
Now, Corneels, I think I would like to join with what Franco has said. I think engineering gives you a way of thinking. Our tutors at varsity always said that, and you don't realize it until you work in the industry. It gives you a way of thinking. It is such a broad base of knowledge that you gain. You gain mathematics, you gain engineering science, you gain specific engineering modules, as well as management and economics. It enables you to master anything that you want to, except medical stuff. But you can master a lot of things if you've got an engineering degree. And the reason why I like the electromechanical engineering degree the most is it gives you just a broader base than the other degrees. Okay, so in a world where there's so much opportunities in diverse fields, it gives you a broader base from which you can approach life after varsity. It gives you the edge in more than just a mechanical or an electrical field. So if I were to redo my degree, and I'm actually more a thermal fluids engineer than anything else, which is not well represented in electromechanical engineering degree, but I would go and study electromechanical engineering, because even the thermal fluid side, there is enough information or content in the modules to give you the edge that you need to go into even that field if you really want to. So, but beside from that, like Franco said, I don't just do it for the money. Do it because it's your passion, but do it because you can gain more knowledge and because it gives you a way of thinking. It teaches you how to gather information, how to process it, how to analyze situations. You can even just do an engineering degree and then become an entrepreneur and build your own business. That is also an option. But you've got all the skills after this degree to go and do that. And that's what's so great from engineering.
Thank you very much, Andrei. There you have it. So those are the closing statements of our panelists, and we want to thank them all. Thank you very much, Andrei, Hanu, and Franco for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much. There's one comment I got from the side. Christo van der Merwe said I must mention this. So I'll just make the comment and then, but we did discuss this to a certain extent, that electromechanical engineering is a shorter route to get to a GCC than a pure electronic or a computer electronic. Just a final comment on that. Andrei, would you agree with what Christo said?
I would agree in a sense, but like I said, and Franco has elaborated more on that, you have to go through a training program. It is not just after you've done your degree exam. It doesn't work that way. You need to gain much more knowledge. All that the electromechanical engineering degree gives you is maybe a broader basis from which to approach this. So it gives you more, it will maybe shorten the number of cycles of trying to pass the GCC exam. But it's not a matter of you're just gonna, after you've done this degree, that you're just gonna write the exam. It doesn't work that way. So I hope that answers your question.
That answers my question. Thank you very much, Andrei. So if today was the first day that you tuned in, you're more than welcome to visit the website engineering.nwu.ac.za, and then under the subheading Study Engineering, you will see Engineering Week, and all 11 video links will be posted there. So you can go and watch our previous episodes where we discussed every single discipline of engineering presented at the Northwest University. So if you are still wondering what is the difference between electromechanical, mechatronic, electronic and computer electronic, you're more than welcome to go and visit those links, click on them, kyk weer na daardie video's, luister weer na wat die panele gesê het, soos wat jy gaan hoor in elke liewe aflewering, almal is passievol oor hulle veld van ingenieurswese. So that should not convince you. That should not be the reason, because everybody is passionate about what they are doing in their specific field of engineering. Right, but please do yourself a favor, go and watch those videos again, and then the good news. The good news, first of all, Andre, I'm still online, so you don't need to say this. So the Executive Dean, Professor Liesel van Dijk, will be joining us again on Monday at 3 o'clock live on YouTube. If you have any questions still after these 2 weeks, or you missed something and you want to ask that question specifically to the Executive Dean, you're more than welcome to join us Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Maandagmiddag 3 uur op YouTube. Die skakel is weer eens beskikbaar by engineering.nwu.ac.za /AF. Studeer hier ingenieursweek en dan sal jy al die skakels daarso kry. Maar maandag gesels ons ook oor 'n tutorprogram wat aangebied word deur die Noordwes Universiteit, en daardie tutorprogram uit die aard van die saak is vir graad 11 en 12 spesifieke fokus op wiskunde en op fisiese wetenskap. So you're more than welcome. We're going to talk about the tutor program, and then the dean will be here and she will be able to handle any other questions. So from our side, thank you very much for joining us the past 2 weeks. Thank you in advance for joining us again on Monday for our final episode of this online engineering week, first of its kind for the Northwest University. And we hope that you enjoyed this and that you found this really informative, en dat jy kan wegstap van hierdie video's af en 'n meer ingeligte besluit kan maak. As jy by 'n punt gekom het wat jy gesê het, ingenieurswese is vir my, dan is ons dankbaar. As jy dalk by 'n punt gekom het om te sê, ingenieurswese is nie vir my nie, dan is ons ook dankbaar, want om te studeer kos 'n paar rand. So as ons jou dalk 'n jaar kan spaar, dan is dit gaaf. Maar as ons aan die ander kant jou kon oortuig het, of jou kon help om te kom by 'n gevolgtrekking om te sê, ek wil ingenieurswese swat, meer spesifiek, watter ingenieurswese jy wil swat, is ons baie dankbaar. So we are here to assist, and if you still have any other questions, please tune in on Monday. And with that, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Geniet die naweek. You must just enjoy it. I hope there's not too much load shedding where you are, and may it not be too cold. It's a bit chilly the next couple of days, maar ons sal oorleef en ons sal maandag mekaar weer sien. So with that, have a wonderful evening. Geseënde aand vir julle elkeen. Usale sentle.